We have all kinds of tea to talk about today, from some Ashton Kutcher cover-ups to a Scientology school lawsuit and so much more, you guys. Aloha, everybody, and welcome. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Hello to everybody in the live chat. Thank you, members, for being here, and a big thank you to the moderators today for helping out. Let's give everybody some aloha as you're coming in, because we have a lot to talk about. So much, all of the things. Oh my goodness. And thank you guys for jumping in early. I'm going to be doing the Monday through Friday Scientology recap at 9 a.m. Central moving forward, going back to a little bit of an earlier time so I can just kick the day off a little bit earlier, and we can all kick our morning off together, almost wherever you are. Because if it's 9 my time, that's 7 on the West Coast, and it's only 10 on the East Coast and in the middle, so hopefully it worked for you guys. Hey, PG Mac. Karen's here. Chantel, good. We can get going. Failed pessimist, good. Thank you for the aloha, by the way. Thank you very much. Okay, everybody, let's jump into some of this stuff because, do we got some crazy to talk about? And I want to kick it off by talking to you guys about one of my favorite things, which are Google reviews for Scientology. Now, here in the Twin Cities is the Scientology org. So that's the one that my family was involved with for many years since we lived here in Minnesota. And we left. I left with 3 generations of my family, not 1, not 2, but 3. And this was the organization my family was involved with mostly. We went to the advanced organization in Los Angeles and Florida as well, but this is where we lived. So check this out. There were a few things that stood out to me about this, you guys. So these are, Cult of Scientology of Twin Cities. These are some of their online reviews. But here's what kind of caught my eye. So I noticed how many on here are actual Scientologists, some not even from the area. And you can usually tell, right? Like this one is a little sus. This place is a bless for all society. In here, we found campaigns call Drug-Free World and the Way to Happiness that change Changu, but I think they mean change our lives. Basically, this place help us overcome all the bad stuff that we're living in our lives. They have done in 1 week what years and years of psychology have not been able to do in our lives. Thank you for being here. Okay, that's not suspicious at all, right? So Scientology in 1 week has done more than psychology has just ever done. That really sounds like something written by a Scientologist. But where's the one? Okay, this one I know for sure. So this was 2 months ago. This is a great place to take a tour, and even better, of course, to improve any area of your life. The staff are very friendly. Great films there also. This person is not just a Scientologist, but Robin is I think she's operating Thetan level 8 now. Maybe she's on operating Thetan level 7, but very, very up there. She's been in Scientology for a long time. Back in the day when I was a Scientologist, we even had dinner a couple of times. So I love that Scientologists are, acting like they either just got going in Scientology. Just seems like a weird thing to me. Now look at this one. Edwin Dearborn. If you're looking for courses and books that will help your life elevate and unleash your superpowers, then I strongly suggest you check this place out, whether you want to improve your communication, your positive outlook on life, or just your overall well-being. There are many resources here to help you as an individual. Here's the thing about this dude. So this was 2 months ago, which interestingly, I noticed that a lot of these Twin Cities, these reviews, a lot of them were within the last 2 months, almost exactly 2 months ago. Well, this dude is full-blown a Scientologist, and not just a Scientologist. He is a Scientologist in an entirely different community. Ed Dearborn is he's a Scientologist in California. He once ran Scientology, I think it was in Orange County. And some of my friends in the ex-Scientology community who may be former Scientologists might remember and recognize that name. What is dude doing writing reviews for the Twin Cities Cult of Scientology? Well, Here's what I think. He does appear to work in marketing and social media. So I think he's going around either working for Scientology or as a volunteer, getting people to do these reviews to help, because I know this is going to be a shocker for you guys, but Scientology has the worst reviews on the internet. It is worse than a bad restaurant, a bad date. It's like all of the worst things combined together. And that's like the experience. So I think it's funny and hilarious. So I like to read those. I hope you guys find them funny and interesting as well. Cece says, they do this for their ethics programs to make amends. Oh, Cece, excellent point. Scientologists who get in trouble with the mother church have to do what are called ethics handlings, where they basically have to redeem themselves and make up the damage one has done far beyond the normal contributions of a group member. So it makes sense. You're right, Cece. He probably just crapped the bed on something as far as Scientology goes. Now he's got to go around making all these comments and stuff. So yeah. Sucks to be him. In Scientology, you guys, when you get in big trouble, you have to do what's called a liability formula, where you have to basically at the end get a piece of paper, draw a big line down the middle, and write approved, disapproved. Approved on one side, disapproved on the other. And you have to go around to the Scientologists in your group or your organization and have them read your liability formula, which is basically saying like, I did this and it was unbecoming of a group member, and I wasn't being a good Scientologist, but my friends are Scientologists who are on purpose in ethics, who support standard tech. And I made up the damage by, I went on Google and I left 50 reviews for different Scientology organizations around the world. And they were all very positive. Please accept me back into the group. Please, please. Approved, disapproved. It's hideous. And in a lot of these things, it's like they're just telling their business, right? I mean, there's no boundaries. You tell all in Scientology. You hide nothing from the mother church. But here's the thing. Well, I remember being in the Sea organization, which if you're new to my channel, that's the paramilitary branch for Scientology. You work 24/7, billion-year contract. I remember being in the Sea organization, and women, back in the day when I was there, we were not allowed to have children. If you did, you had to go to a small failing Scientology organization, which pretty much was anyone. I mean, throw a dart at a board of Scientology, different organizations, they're all failing, pick one. But you didn't get to pick the one you went to. I was sent to Seattle. But while I was pregnant there in the Sea organization, multiple people, mainly women, would come through with their liability formulas because they got pregnant. But to make it up, their effective blow, they were no longer than pregnant. These were married women who were pressured into ending their pregnancies because Scientology, the Sea organization, knew that it would end their free labor if these women went on to have their children. So many of you know that, but just thought I'd throw that in again too there. All right, now let's see. Let's go. Did you guys see? We are going to get into the whole I am still reeling from a lot of this Ashton Kutcher stuff that we're going to talk about. But before we get to that, I want to make sure you guys know Kelli Copter did an amazing video about basically forgiving her mom, her absent mother. And if you do not know Kelli Copter's story, you're going to want to find out. Let's just look at a clip from her video.
Back when I was doing like therapy and stuff, which I have done 7 years of, guys, 7 years of therapy. One of the things that I got asked to do was to write a letter, like not a letter that you send, but write a letter to people that had hurt you. And it's actually really useful because, you know, you can get out all of the feelings you have, and you can just seal it up or shred it or burn it or whatever you want. And sometimes that's all you need. I think another part of it was like writing like the apology you wanted to hear, you know, like writing that side of it. Back when I was doing like therapy and stuff, which I have done 7 years of, guys, 7 years.
It is such a great video, you guys. I hope you get a chance to go check it out. I mean, her story, being declared a suppressive person at the age of 6 and basically abandoned by her parents. She was on her own from the age of 16, which is interesting. That was my age too. When I was on my own, was about 15, 16. couch surfing, working for Scientology, trying to do odd jobs to make money. It happens to so many of us who grew up in Scientology and were separated from our parents for one reason or another, and for some abandoned by their parents, just trying to make it in the world. But for some, when you don't want anything to do with Scientology, your parents think they're doing you a favor by labeling you correctly. But she's got a great story there. So go ahead and check that out. Sharona says, getting it out really can help to let it go, not for them, but for yourself. It's a tremendous help. I'm so glad Kelli talked about it. Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And that is a great point. I actually did not think of doing that, where writing that letter or writing the apology that you wish you had, or it's just powerful stuff. And I love the different tools and ways that people have found to heal from Scientology or trauma or other high control groups. Okay, let's see. Jumping over now. I don't even know how to begin to explain this next story to you guys. I really don't. So we're just going to jump into it because, as you know, Scientologist Rebecca Minkoff is on The Real Housewives of New York. So in a recent episode of The Real Housewives of New York, it comes out that Rebecca Minkoff says husband Gavin once sucked and spit out her breast milk when she needed to empty. Okay, first off, this is the first thing that pops out at me about this is, where's the barley formula? Why did the rest of us as Scientologists have to do L. Ron Hubbard's barley formula? We were told that we should be doing that over breastfeeding. I find that interesting. I really do. And you know what? Kudos to her, actually, for breastfeeding instead of doing L. Ron Hubbard's stupid barley formula that he said should be given to babies with ridiculous amounts of Karo syrup in it and basically boiled barley water. I mean, I did it. The daycare that my daughter went to, that's what they did. That's how they fed the babies. It's just, anyways, let's get back to this. So she was breastfeeding. So she says, I was like, F, babe, you're going to have to sort me out. We're going to go to the bathroom right now. You need to release me. She recalled on the October 22nd episode of The Real Housewives of New York City. So this must be her husband there. When Rebecca Minkoff was in a sticky breastfeeding situation, her husband Gavin didn't hesitate to come to her rescue. On the October 22nd episode of The Real Housewives of New York City, the fashion designer 42 revealed that the director once sucked out her breast milk in an emergency situation where she couldn't pump. During a girls' trip to Aaron Hampton's house, Rebecca confessed she felt dehydrated despite drinking water to aid her milk production as she was still breastfeeding her fourth child. So, cute family though. Cute family. There's nothing worse than not emptying. It's so uncomfortable, she sighed as her fellow cast member Sai agreed. It's so painful. One time, Gavin and I went to a club in Paris, and I felt like that feeling, Rebecca called, and I was like, F, babe, you're going to have to sort me out. We're going to go to the bathroom right now. You need to release me. And he took one for the team. After the gesture, she added that Gavin spit out the contents. Though she welcomed Leonardo a year ago, Rebecca revealed that she had no intentions of slowing down on breastfeeding. So while pumping in her shared room, blah, 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 blah. I don't think any of that really is, blah, blah, blah about her children. I mean, I've not been in this situation. Even when I did breastfeed, which I did a little bit of, not a ton. So I don't even know. Is this a thing? I mean, I know that, if something happens and you have a blocked duct or something like that, I mean, it can be a serious medical condition, and she couldn't pump. And when you've had a baby and they're too full, that is very uncomfortable. I get that. But there are pumps, and even ones that you can carry around, or even you can hand express. And I don't know, they were in Paris, so maybe that was just their thing. I was just so surprised that she shared that and talked about it, given that she's been so, kind of vanilla on The Real Housewives. And now, boom, suddenly it's, her husband breastfeeding, but then spitting it out. So maybe it's technically not breastfeeding, but am I crazy? I mean, you guys tell me. I'm looking at the comments here. Like, is this... Did I miss something when I was having my kids? Like, Does that happen? Squirrel SPTV. Doesn't she realize that breast pumps are available? I feel like they would be in Paris too. It's one thing if it was like, some sexual thing and you were into it, but I don't know. I don't know. It just, I don't get it. I don't get this one. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little conflicted about this. So I'm going to check back with you guys on the comment. If you're on the replay, what do you think about this story? I'm going to link everything down below so you can read it all. And then maybe you could comment about it. Amber says they have pumps that you could just wear now that you don't have to do anything. It just stays on you. That's true. That's true. But I can't imagine you want to walk around Paris with one of those. But you would think though, if you're traveling and you're breastfeeding that you would have a pump, but I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. Aloha, Tony. Thank you for being here. Crochet Kid, you can express by hand. Personally, I was always near my babies when I got that full. Yeah. Yeah. Cubana Chica sounds like she's trying to fit in, like maybe fit in with the crew, with the company. I say to each their own. I agree. I agree with that too, Sparkling Dragon. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not sure how I feel about this. I don't know. I just would have found another way. But again, to each his own. So that's what's happening there with that. That's the latest Rebecca Minkoff news on the Real Housewives of New York. Although Goldilocks says fetish would be worse. He's a decent hubby for doing that for her. Yeah. Yep. That is another way to see it. Definitely. Fuzzy pink handcuffs. When good humble brags go bad. Would that be a humble brag? Love P flag comment. Love the early time. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad. I wanted to just kind of do these a little earlier to get going on my day. And when I first started doing the recap, I think I did them at like 8 Central Time. So we're kind of going back to a little bit of an earlier time. Thank you guys for being here with me. I like barely made it here on time. I'm still figuring out my own morning schedule and routine. Okay. The number of disturbing stories I have to share with you today are disturbing. There is a Scientologist named Stephen Ridley. He is a piano person, a piano player, a pianist, I guess you would call it. He has a YouTube channel. I think there's over like 400-something thousand subscribers. He also offers, apparently he has this thing where it's like, hey, for $3,000, you can be a piano master and you only have to practice 3 minutes a day. Well, number one, Stephen Ridley is a Scientologist. Number two, the piano world is starting to lose their mind, at least the ones on YouTube. And I am here for it. I'm so here for this. Stephen Ridley. Well, you know what? Let's just look at a couple clips and then we will talk about this, because you guys remember how when we covered Aaron Cairo, the Scientologist, also Braille skateboard owner who went for like 2-3 years in Florida to train under David Miscavige to run Scientology in San Francisco. And then he shut down his business, kind of crapped on his people. And it just was like all over the internet about all the Scientology stuff started to come out and how great that was. I mean, honestly, it's still ongoing. This is now happening with this Stephen character and the piano world. And if you guys don't know, if you might have even watched his videos or known about him and not known this. So let's take a look at a couple of clips here about this and listen to what people are saying.
And this is why the only Scientologists you really see are actors and stuff like Tiny Tom Cruise and John Travolta and stuff. Bad bunch of guys, but they've got the money to keep leveling up in the Scientology. So what's happening is Stephen's taking you $3,000 for your 4 chords and he's giving it to the Space Amish and they're paying off judges and stuff.
Okay, for one, I love that he calls it the Space Amish. It's kind of how he refers to Scientology. I just thought that was really funny.
It's a big conspiracy and it's not okay.
But I love that he's calling him out on, basically being a huge donor to Scientology, and that if you're supporting him, you're giving money to Scientology, pretty much is what he's saying.
Look, this is by the by. Do what you want. I'm just saying that Stephen sucks and his course isn't worth $3,000.
Stephen sucks and his course isn't worth $3,000. So there is another video that really kind of kicked all of this off, and you're going to start seeing it in your feed because of course we're talking about it here. There is a YouTuber, this guy here. Raphael Comu, I think it's how it's pronounced. And he did a video called Don't Buy This Guy's Piano Course. So Raphael has like just under 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. This video came out 11 days ago and it's got just under 200,000 views on it. So let's take a look at a clip from this video. Let me back that up.
Stephen Ridley has stated that he is a Scientologist multiple times. Scientology is a huge topic that I can't fully cover in this video, obviously, but for those who don't know much about it, the Church of Scientology is a cult founded in 1953 by L. Ron Hubbard. They have many strange beliefs, one of which is that 75 million
Apparently this here too that he's scrolling past is something that Stephen himself wrote when he was sharing that he's a Scientologist.
years ago, an interplanetary alien ruler named Xenu transported millions of aliens to Earth.
Now a, misrepresented and, I'm going to be sharing the full picture about Xenu, but that part's true.
And then killed them with hydrogen bombs. This is a huge oversimplification of just one of their beliefs, but it does show that they are absolutely insane.
And I kind of want to push back on that point just a little bit. I don't think that shows that anybody is insane because they believe that. I think there are because for me, it's not about belief. If you want to believe in space aliens and alien cooties all over your body, so be it. For people who are, many new, it's just like, it's not the craziest thing that I've heard. And many Scientologists, the vast majority, will never know about this because the majority of them do not make it up the bridge to total freedom. They do not. They do not. So they don't actually find out about it. The thing in my mind that where people get the idea that Scientology or Scientologists are insane. I don't think Scientologists are insane as a rule. I think a lot of them, most of them are good people who have had their desire to help hijacked and they're constantly being fed propaganda to believe that Scientology is actually doing something in the world to help. Aloha, Kelli Copter. We just shared your video just a little bit ago. Good to see you. So just because you believe in something like that, I don't think just that alone makes you insane, but I get what his point is. So let's continue.
They have also been accused of a lot of wrongdoing and criminal activity, including human trafficking and covering up various kinds of abuse.
Now, to me, that makes you insane. That stuff right there.
Scientology members have to pay huge amounts of money to the church in order to get the required training to advance up the levels. So it is very likely Stephen Ridley is giving money to this terrible organization.
That he is. I'm going to link this all down below after this video so you guys can check it out because he really lays it down. And like I said, this video's now got just under 200,000 views and he is doing the Lord's work there. Praise Xenu, exposing Scientology, saying it like it is. Kelli Copter says, "Ooh, I always get excited when I make it onto the recap." Fangirling you, Natalie. Kelli, I'm fangirling you. I'm looking forward to playing that werewolf game. I can't wait to learn more about it. Nisa says, why spend $3,000 when you could take piano lessons for less than that? I know, but apparently he promotes it like you only got to practice 3 minutes a day with his technique, with his thing. He sells it really well. I had no idea who this dude was until somebody sent me this story and I started looking more into it. Like, who is Stephen Ridley, whatever his name is. And I was like, whoa, and now with people in the piano community on YouTube now doing videos exposing Scientology, I just feel like, I don't know, it is just the best day ever. The more groups, the more genres, the more ways that people find out that Scientology is a human trafficking cult, the better. Kelli says Stephen Ridley is a liar. And you guys know if Kelli Copter says it, it is true. You know that. So let's see. We're going to take a little bit of a look at, there is this website where you can go look people up to see what Scientology services they've done. Stephen Ridley, look at what he's done most recently in May 2023. He did the OT preparations. Well, let's back it up. So he was on the Freewind, Scientology's cruise ship in 2017, and he did the Melbourne Congress, which is some lecture by Edwin Hubbard thing. He attested to the state of clear in 2018. it looks like. And remember, Scientology, when you attest to the state of clear, you have realized what? Do y'all remember? I've been creating my own reactive mind and I'm not going to do it anymore. Yeah, that's basically what you spend over 100,000 for if you have to do all the steps, plus your donations and all of the things. So he attested to that state in 2018. Sunshine rundown is just something you do after that. Now, here's the interesting thing. It says clear here and then clear again. So I don't know why it's on there twice or what he would have done for it to be that way. Then he did the Advanced Organization Solo Auditor course. That's where you learn how to audit yourself in Scientology. You learn how to use the Scientology e-meter on yourself. This is the course where you learn to connect the e-meter cans together. You have this thing and you put one on the other, and it's basically kind of like this. So you're like holding the cans in one hand. Actually, for me, wait, I'm left-handed. So I hold the cans. Yeah, I hold the cans in my right hand and then I write, because you have to write down everything happening with those body thetans, because Scientology needs to know where they were from, right? Did this happen? Like, did it involve some type of space alien travel? Were they upset? Were you Cleopatra in a past life? All of the things, you got to write it down. And then you got to control the e-meter too, like with your thumb while you're holding the cans. I always thought it was funny the way they connect the cans like that. I always wanted the joke you're not allowed to make in Scientology. Don't ask me how I found out, because I actually did and I got in trouble for it. Are those e-meter cans in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Scientology does not think that's funny. It will get you security checked. Yeah, but I can say it now. Can I? I can say it now. I can laugh about it. I can joke about it. Happy Heathen knowledge report on thetans. Exactly. You got to write knowledge reports on those body thetans. You never know what they're up to. So this course, the solo auditor course, you are learning. He was learning how to operate the e-meter on himself. So then in 2023, OT preparations, operating thetan preparations. So he did that in 2023. Now what this is, you guys, operating thetan preparations is basically a lot of security checking and what's called false purpose rundown, where you handle your evil intentions and your evil purposes so that you can be invited onto the OT levels. You get your little invite that goes in your PC folder. It's a little, if I remember correctly, and I might not be, so my ex-Scientology friends, help me out if you remember, wasn't it? It was an actual invitation, like your case supervisor would like to invite you onto the OT levels. It was something like that once you got approved for it. I thought I remember being showed a piece of paper as like, now this is your next step. And of course, as a Scientologist, you get very excited, but what happened after 2023? Like, I don't see anything, at least on that website, where he went on. Normally you do this once you are approved and accepted, you immediately start the operating thetan levels. If you do not, it usually means one of a few things. One, you got some ethics issues and Scientology is not having it. You need to go make up the damage and donate more money and fix whatever it is you did that they are not down with. The other thing is maybe you don't have the money, but dude is like charging $3,000 for these courses and they seem to be, at least by all appearances, popular. So I kind of feel like money wouldn't be a thing. I don't know. Also, I've not really found a lot after 2023 about this guy on his own social. It almost seems like he kind of disappears. There were some shorts on his YouTube, but not like a really recent video. So I don't know what is up with that, but his website is active and he is selling these courses. I don't know. Could it be he left Scientology? Probably not, but I feel like if he did, he'd want to, like, I don't know, make that known, especially now. So I feel like Stephen, if you were watching this, which you probably are not, but if friends of yours are, maybe somebody can send it to him. If you are no longer in Scientology, you might want to say so, because people are coming for you in the piano world. I had no idea there was so much dishing of the tea in the world of, like, you know, piano and music. And I'm here for it. I like it. I got to say, the more I think about it, yeah, I like it. Okie dokie. Marcy, are you going out of town, leaving for my trip to Santa Fe? So may miss some lives, but we'll try to catch replays. Thank you, Marcy. I'm always happy to see you in the live and see you on the replay. Hey, y'all. Suppressive Squirrel is in the house here. Thank you, Mama Opal, for the reminder. Show some aloha to that like button and subscribe as well. Okay, where we at? All right. Let's now. Oh, yeah. I showed you the Stephen Ridley completion. So OT preparations, and it stops in 2013. I don't know why. But I have a feeling we're going to learn more about this. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the Scientologist mindset. Power lies to paralyze, which power lies to paralyze. I don't know if you're here. I changed the time. I don't know if you're like on board with this 9 a.m. stuff yet. Power lies to paralyze makes the most amazing videos. I feel like for me, it translates a lot of my Scientology experience into terminology that makes sense. It really explains almost my own experience to me. But here's the thing. I feel like even those of you never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult, I think you guys are going to relate to this too, because it does seem that similar, trauma or being in a high control group, that it all kind of creates the same thing. So we're going to look at this little short here from Power Lies to Paralyze called Lost Empathy. Listen to this. Listen closely because we're going to talk about it.
Over time, members experience cognitive dissonance when witnessing the suffering of others within the group. Their natural inclination to feel empathy conflicts with their indoctrination to dismiss or blame the person for their own struggles. Rather than confront this dissonance, many members suppress their emotional reactions as a defense mechanism. By convincing themselves that others' suffering is due to misapplication of the tech, they avoid confronting their own doubts about the organization.
Okay, right there. That makes so much sense to me, right? You're making less. You do. This happened. This was how I was thinking in Scientology. It blew my mind.
This suppression leads to emotional callousness. The brain essentially rewires itself to rationalize the suffering of others.
This is what happens in the C organization for sure. And I've not been able to kind of put that into words like that. That's why I love that Power Lies to Paralyze does these, because that's exactly what it felt like, is that we desensitized ourselves to the suffering of others. And if others were suffering, it was because of their failure to apply Scientology. What? I don't like to swear on this show, but what the F? Seriously. That is completely the way that it was. And I kind of forgot about it because I've moved so far away from that mentality. But for those of you, especially new to the subject of Scientology, this might fill in some of the blanks, because a lot of the question that I've gotten from many of you, and even over the years with people, is how do so many Scientologists just kind of look the other way on things? And this is applicable to what we're going to talk about when we get into the Ashton Kutcher, Diddy, Danny Masterson hot mess, because there's a similarity there with this line of thinking. And it just really, I kind of twigged on this, that this exact thing in Scientology is so much of why so many abuses are allowed to happen and occur, because it's rationalized by, well, that person just misapplied Scientology. They're just not correcting applying Scientology. And that is not true. They're being abused. They're being neglected. They're being mistreated. That's what's happening. But in Scientology and in the C organization, we're not allowed to think that way. If you do, you yourselves will be interrogated. You yourself will be getting Scientology actions done on you that you will have to pay for, one way or the other. Because if you get these interrogations in the C organization, you sign these invoices saying that if I leave the C organization before I finish my billion-year contract, I'm going to pay for this. Now, legally not enforceable, but Scientology will go at you. You will then get what's called a freeloader debt. So eventually, even staff and Sea Org members would actually have to pay for this. Everyday Scientologists do pay for it, the security checks and all of that. And as a result of going further and further up Scientology's bridge to total freedom, this gets worse. This is how the empathy goes away. And on my channel, I've talked a lot with you guys about how so much of my healing from Scientology has been in allowing myself to nurture that empathy, to nurture that compassion, to nurture that acceptance that we weren't allowed to have. You couldn't just accept that, oh, Joe just, doesn't want to be in Scientology anymore. He wants to go on and do his own thing. Or Sarah, same thing. No, there's no acceptance for that. Those people are now criminals. They're squirrels. They're against us. That black and white thinking of that cult mentality of I now must do harm to these people because you're perceiving that they're doing harm to your organization. That is a psychotic way of thinking. And that is the cult mentality that is hammered in by Scientology itself, by the practices of Scientology, removing the empathy, removing the compassion, and replacing it with a way of thinking that only aligns with L. Ron Hubbard and only will ever put Scientology in a good light. Laura, you're so right. That's why Tony was your angel completely. In my 11 years with my Tony, and if I got to tell you, I learned so much of that from him. He what is the word? He was such a model for that. Absolutely. We talked about it a lot. The Holy Rogue. Yep. So true. Right. Isn't it? Like, I'm going to link that down below. You guys all got to watch the whole thing. There was a little bit more to it, but it was so good. Granny G, did you have your sense of humor when you were in Scientology? Girl, yes. That's why I got in so much trouble in Scientology. They tried to get it out of me multiple times, but it doesn't matter how many times you security check me or do what's called the false purpose rundown. No, I just learned not to say it out loud in Scientology because I knew it would get me in trouble. But I still had it. It was still there. I mean, my sense of humor, honestly, for me, it's such a key piece of who I am that even Scientology they could suppress it, but they couldn't change it. And being able to be here today and make jokes about Scientology is the most freeing thing ever. It so is. It so is. See, your intuition was there. Yep, totally. Kelli Copter, she was J&D all over the place. J&G is jokers and degraders, which is like totally not something in Scientology. It's against the rules. You get called a J&D-er, a joker and degrader. I should make merch that says Joker and Degrader. I wonder if anybody's already does it. Doesn't matter. I would wear it. Joker and Degrader. Yes, Scientology. I'm such a Joker and Degrader. You were right about that. In fact, we should let OSA know. David Miscavige, wake up your people. Office of Special Affairs, rise and shine, my lovelies. You guys were so right. It turns out, I don't know, maybe I owe you an apology in a way. I am a joker and degrader, one of the worst, actually. My sense of humor is so twisted. And now that I can use that and laugh about Scientology, it's even better. It's just so much of who I am. And if you, my friends at the Office of Special Affairs there, if you yourself, you got a little bit of that J&D in you, you want to laugh, you want to make jokes, you've watched my show and you have suppressed laughter. You would have laughed. You want to laugh. You want to, and you can join us here on the outside where we can joke, where we can laugh and we can have fun. The Holy Rogue. Yep. Yeah. Hell yes. Do it, Natalie. I do. I want to do it. I want to make that. You would buy a Captain Davy? Okay, I don't have, you got to go to Blown for Good on his channel or where the Captain Davies are. I don't have them in my merch shop. And I was gifted mine by the one and only Cricket, Chow Yun Smut. And I'm very thankful for that because I use it like every single day. That's right, Kelly. Come for the news, stay for the puppet show. I still got to work in my body things. These are from Feral Cheryl on the Loose. I love these so much. They're so cute. I mean, they're just like even little soft body things. I could have bodies. Oh, I feel a Halloween costume coming on. I could just go as like, somebody who hasn't gotten rid of their body things. I've only got a few of these though. I think it could work. I could pin them to my clothes. Yeah. Wheels are turning, people. The wheels are turning. Marlene, exactly. Laughter is the best medicine. I so feel that. Mary says, oh my God, even as a never-in, I would so wear that shirt. Okay. Mama Opal, can you help me remember to make the Joker and Degraders merch? I will do it today, hopefully. You can wear it for Kelly says you can wear it for werewolves. Ooh, yes. Damn, those are hilarious. Aren't they? Oh, Holy Rogue, it is so good to see you. I love, there's so many people who are in the chat that are former Scientologists. And I love that we could be here together with so many of you never in the cult, but all here on for bringing it down and talk about these things and be mortified by them and laugh about them all at the same time. I really love it. Oh, hey, T, good to see you. I feel like it's been a minute. Per Scientology Audit, it's the evening for her. Good to see you. I love that. Sparkling Dragon says, you're adorable, Natalie. I love the cute Thetans. Yeah, they're from Cheryl. I want to ask her to make me more because I want so much more. Okay, I was actually supposed to give these to my grandkids. And as you can see, I did not. I kept them for myself. I'm like, no, forget them grandkids. So I need more. I do. All right, let's see here. Love P-Flag My Family. Yesterday, watched Natalie Webster, My Scientology Cult Story. Hugs and loves that SA plane story. Crushed my heart. You were so brave. I'm more motivated to protest. Ah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's a hard one to talk about still for me. But I've talked about it a couple of times on a few videos. And if you guys don't know, you can go back and see the video, or long story short, when I was SA'd in the Sea organization, they completely covered it up and offered me a deal if I never told, never talked about it, didn't go to the police. I didn't even go to a doctor. And I should have gone to a doctor. I mean, I had marks on me. That's how it kind of came up when security saw those. But they covered it up. They covered up. That's what they do. They didn't want the police showing up. No, they did not. Remember, I'm the same person who, as a child, invited Mark David Chapman into the Scientology org to do a personality test. And he actually went in right before he went on to murder John Lennon. That resulted in my family being banned from Scientology for a hot minute. It was a glorious hot minute, but we went back. Had to go back. My mom wanted to go back. Let Bella notes. Good morning, Nat. You need a Thetan family. I do. I bet you Cheryl. I should talk to her. I should talk to her. I want more. Okay, so where am I at here? Oh, you guys, did you guys see Phil Jones, his recent video he just did about Scientology front groups? I want to get this on your radar. So we're just going to look at a clip, but I'm going to link everything down below. You guys got to go watch this.
Scientology's Foundation for a Drug-Free World. What is it? What's their purpose? And are they active in the Niagara region here in Ontario, Canada? My name is Phil Jones. I was in Scientology for 40 years, and I've been out for over a decade and fighting against Scientology abuses ever since.
Phil Jones is one of my favorite people here on YouTube. Him and his wife, Willie, they protest Scientology. Their two kids are now adults in the Sea organization and have been disconnected from their parents. It is tragic, but check it out. He gets into the different front groups. Great information. Phil does such a good job of really giving that backstory and then adding in the added anecdotal stories about even his family's own involvement, even in some of these Scientology front groups. Because when we were in Scientology, we were all about the front groups. We didn't really, well, I don't think I would have called it a front group. I've been calling it a front group for so long. I can't remember in Scientology what we called them. It was like community. I don't even remember. Anyways, they're total front groups for Scientology, but we all were involved in them in Scientology because we believed the propaganda that they were actually out doing good, and they weren't. Because it's like, even if you go to some place like after a hurricane where people don't have food, don't have water, don't have power, and you're just handing out Way to Happiness booklets. No, it's just not what's needed. The SP chef is here. Hello, Natalie, darling, and the lovely chat. Glad to catch you live. Good to see you. It always brightens my day when you're here. I've been loving your ABCs of Scientology. You guys can head over to the SP Chef here on YouTube, and he's been defining different Scientology words there. Ooh, listen to this, you guys. T per Scientology Audit says, I'm arranging a vigil in Melbourne. Am I saying that right now? I feel like so many of you emailed me and I always forget. Melbourne for Lisa McPherson, 5th of December. Would love people to join if they can. That is awesome. Okay, so December 5th. All right. Yeah, keep talking about it. Keep bringing it up. Keep bringing it up so we can remind people between now and then. SP Chef says, here's is another one, Natalie. Are you happy to see me, or is that a goldenrod in your pocket? Oh, I like that. Oh my God, that just scared me. It was my own phone. Startle much? Somebody has PTSD. Turn down the volume. That's my sister. I think Lana wants to hang tomorrow. Listen to this text from my sister. Are you free tomorrow during the day, noon to 5, to screw around? I don't even know if I am. Tomorrow is Friday. Actually, I'm not totally. I got some work stuff, but I will work it out. Okay, back to here. Where are we? I'm trying to catch up. I'm a little bit. Melbourne. Okay, it is Melbourne. Melbourne. But do people not in Australia pronounce it Melbourne? I know you pronounce it Melbourne. I don't want, but if that's how you say it, that's how you say it. And I will keep on with that. Okay. Did I see Wendy here? Windy City Thetan Watch. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, hold on. I need to pull something up here that disappeared here. Hold on. Isn't that interesting? Why would this article disappear? Where is it now? Is that it? No, that's not it. Oh, hold on a second, everybody. There it is. Okay, I got it back. This next story is going to curl your toes. Curl your toes. Okay, let's see. This is from the Underground Bunker. We're going to look at this. Scientology school in LA sued over cover-up of coach imprisoned for SA. So this is the Delphi school, Delphi Academy in LA, and that is Randolph Jackson. It was already a terrible story in 2017 when Randolph Jackson, then a 29-year-old former basketball coach, pleaded guilty to 6 counts of molesting boys at a charter school in Santa Clarita, a Los Angeles suburb. He was sentenced to 17 years in prison, where he remains today. But what made it even worse was that before he had arrived at the charter school, he had previously worked at Delphi Academy, a Scientology school, where officials had received troubling reports about him and a boy at the school. Rather than turn him in, however, Delphi recommended Jackson when he decided to move to the charter school. They recommended him. After the troubling reports of him and a boy, they recommended him to the other school, where he went on to even commit more heinous crimes and now finally is in prison. Now, the law firm of blah, 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 blah has filed a lawsuit against Delphi Academy on behalf of the John Doe student who was victimized by Jackson there. Here are 2 paragraphs from the press release that the law firm put out this week. The lawsuit claims, how we all doing here? Y'all still with me here? Just checking on the chat. I know, Mary, I'm with you. It's sick, but we got to share the ick because it's the truth. The lawsuit claims that John Doe, the former student, was repeatedly essayed by Jackson during, oh God. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is hitting me like this right now. I read the story earlier. Hold on. I just need a minute. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I can't read that. I'm going to link it down below. It is disgusting. And here's your trigger warning too. Somebody should have given me a trigger warning. I should have trigger warned myself. Ooh, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know why that just out of the blue. I read the story earlier. It's just whatever reason, here we are. Okay. We're going to get the wheels back on the bus here. Hold on. Oh. It's just so disgusting that this still happens, that it's gone on for so long in Scientology. and that it's the same stuff over and over again. And sometimes it just feels like nothing is being done about it. Not enough gets done about it. The cover up that is involved with Scientology covering up all kinds of SA. But, you know, we have to talk about it because these are the things, these are the reasons why Scientology is so dangerous and why something needs to be done, why they need to continue to be exposed. But the gist of it is there is now the lawsuit that's happening on behalf of this former student and John Doe. So I am going to link it down below. It's from the Underground Bunker. You can read the whole thing, but you guys get what the point is. And unfortunately, we have to talk about it because it's the truth. And this was a Scientology school. It's one thing when it happens within Scientology, within the cult, within the church, with the staff members and the public and the cover up of it. But at a school, to cover it up and then to recommend this asshole. I think that's the part that's really getting me. You knew what he did, and you unleashed him on other children. All right, you're right, Kelly. Kids cannot consent. That is such a, I mean, that's it. That's pretty much it right there. It just pisses me off. I'm so sick of it. I really am. I know you guys all are. And that's why we do what we do. It's why we share these stories, why we try to amplify these voices, because at some point, it has to change. And even the story that we're going to talk about, the coming up, we're going to get into this Ashton Kutcher hot mess and a half. This is a great example of exactly this type of behavior being covered up. And I'm telling you, there's something. These things are coming out, and they're coming out in huge ways, and there's so much media attention on it that this is a good thing. It's horrific and hard to hear about, but what ends up happening is eventually something gets done about it. Look, how long was Sean Diddy Combs under investigation? It started with previous lawsuits against him for this type of behavior, for this predatory behavior. And then he gets investigated, and then these things get found out, and then more people come forward. And now all of these connections are being made, and there's one person, more than one person, but one person in the middle of a lot of this. And it's Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher, connected to Danny Masterson, wrote a letter to judges trying to get him to, be more lenient on his prison sentence, despite what Danny Masterson did that landed him in prison. Sean Diddy Combs, Ashton Kutcher is there too and involved in that. You see him in multiple stories. It's coming out. Now we have this Abercrombie and Fitch situation. If you guys are not familiar, under investigation, lawsuits for SA going back years. Ashton Kutcher was a model back in the day, like in 98 or so. So what happened? Was he involved in it when he was younger? Is this where he got these ideas? Is this where he somehow got the idea that this kind of behavior could be perpetuated? And then at some point, he becomes an advocate for child trafficking. Meanwhile, his friends, we're now finding out all of this is coming out. His friends, he's been running all over the place, covering up, denying, lying for Sean Diddy Combs, Danny Masterson. And I guess we'll find out more about this Abercrombie thing and the ties between that and even Epstein. It's like it is all connected. It's insane. But the thing is, a lot of these things that are coming out now, and thank goodness they are, and thank goodness it's so hugely in the media, mainstream media, in, all over different social media platforms, because that is what then leads to something being done about it. And what my hope is here is that with all this other mess that Ashton Kutcher's involved with Danny Masterson, Abercrombie and Fitch, and P. Diddy, that it will maybe even more victims and even more recent victims having to do with Scientology will be able to come forward. It's one piece of it. I almost feel like the whole subject of SA within Scientology is just one more symptom of a lot larger disturbing picture. And there seems to repeatedly be the same people involved in it over and over and over again. Take a look at this. We're going to look at a clip here. This is from a guy here on YouTube, but listen to this.
Here's the real plot twist. Ashton Kutcher might have a connection to Mike Jeffries and even Epstein. Yeah, Ashton Kutcher, the actor and former Abercrombie and Fitch model who has been vocal about fighting against human trafficking. Rumors are swirling that his involvement with Abercrombie wasn't as innocent as it seemed. Could Kutcher have been deeper in the mix than people realize? Was he just another face for the brand, or did he know more about what was going on behind the scenes? The puzzle pieces are falling into place, and the bigger picture looks darker than anyone imagined.
This is true. And it's interesting that he seems to be connected to all of it. You know what, before when we were talking about this with the Danny Masterson trial and all of that, and then Ashton's involvement, I mean, just think about what has transpired in just the last year, the last 2 years, the last year. It's just more and more as this truth comes out and the involvement of people in positions of power, like within Scientology, the cover-ups for it, the hiding it, all the players. Yep, Laura, exactly this, all the players being exposed. And I believe that this will help in our desire to expose this within Scientology as well. And these are larger news stories, yet they're connected. There is a connection to Scientology and people in Scientology and that similar behavior. So we are going to pay attention to it. There's another clip I want to show you. I think was this from the Christina Ricci. Let's take a look.
Ever since Diddy started throwing these wild parties with questionable acts like forcing young artists and people, both men and women, into non-consensual intimate activities, Ashton was consistently present. We've all seen it. For him to advocate for SA survivors while knowing what goes on behind the scenes at Diddy's parties is beyond hypocritical. But it looks like this facade is crumbling as the feds have uncovered countless tapes and evidence implicating some A-list celebrities, not only for attending Diddy's parties, but also for helping him cover up these horrific acts. And Ashton is one of them.
Yeah, no wonder he's considering moving to Europe. That's kind of the latest rumor, is him and his wife want to get away from this. And I can see why. Sharona says, I still wonder if Demi found out about Ashton's behavior and made him do the anti-human trafficking stuff as some sort of penance. If so, it was a misguided fix. I would agree. I am going to add the links to the video, but I do it at the end because sometimes I run out of time and then I have to take things out. So I've just been now adding them after I do the video. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, catching up a little bit on your comments. We do have another link that we are going to look at. Ashton was surrounded by the filth and kept quiet. He is guilty too. Yeah, so much filth, right? It's not like, oh, I accidentally went to this party once and blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, no, it's like over and over and over and over again. What is up with you? Obviously, this guy's got some serious issues. Susan says, Ashton is like the Kevin Bacon of the sick world. Everything connects back to Ashton. Doesn't it seem that way? Which for me opens up even more. Do we really know everything that happened with Danny Masterson? Could there be more? Will more come out? I don't know. I think the person meant just Kevin Bacon because the 6th degree of separation, nothing's wrong with Kevin Bacon as far as we know. He is fine, but there's that 6 degrees of separation. He's connected to pretty much everybody in Hollywood, in entertainment, and in this being that, like, it does seem that Ashton is connected to so much of this. And if this stuff coming out the way that it is in this huge way is going to help to bring attention to similar abuses and things in Scientology, then yay, then I'm talking about it. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to share it. Because that is exactly what we need. We need more attention on this so something can be done about it. Not be quiet about it, not talk about it, even though it is hard. But thankfully you guys are here and that helps. That helps. Let's see, Karen, do you think we will see more women involved as predators? Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, we'll find out. We have it. It doesn't seem to be as predominant, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It does. There are female predators. They seem to be grossly outnumbered by their male counterparts, but, you know, it happens. There are female predators. Let's see. Squirrel SPTV. Didn't Demi say Ashton was asking her multiple times for threesomes? Yeah. I do remember that. And, you know, consenting adults, if you're two consenting adults and that's your jam with another consenting adult, then you do you, boo. But I think given everything we know now, like, yeah, that's kind of like, oh, maybe she wasn't down with that. Maybe who knows who that would have involved with or what type of person or whatever. But it definitely sounds like she wasn't down with that. Let's see. Oh, Church of Scientology, you missed a lot. Oh, James, all of the female school teachers. Yeah, I don't know at Delphi what the ratio is, male-female teachers, or what the deal is there, but they knew. People knew. So I don't know. I think that story deserves more of a deep dive. Absolutely it does. Let's see. Stasia says, I want to know the story and make sure he ends up in prison forever, but the stories are so tough to hear. Yes. And I'm going to link it below so you guys can read the whole thing. It's from the Underground Bunker. Like I said, I read it earlier. I think it's just the combination of all this stuff today. It's like a lot. It's a lot. Ooh, Phil Jones. Good to see you, Phil. Did you see we shared your video earlier? Loved that video about the front groups. From what I've seen, most of the teachers at various Scientology schools were women, not all, but most. Yep. Okay, so let's see here. I think I grabbed another clip, but I can't even remember exactly what this one is. Same topic. Ashton defending Danny Masterson, I think is what this is about.
What's even more alarming is that when his friend Danny Masterson faced similar accusations, Ashton defended him despite the overwhelming evidence against him. The fallout from that situation led Ashton to step down from his role at Thorn, the anti-S-teaking tech company he co-founded. This entire situation raises serious questions about the integrity of his advocacy, casting a long shadow over his commitment to a cause he has publicly supported for years. For context, in case you didn't know, Danny Masterson has been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison after being convicted on 2 counts of SA. What's even more alarming is,
again, just more and more connections being made there. Phil says, I included the point in my video about them targeting 10-year-old kids. Yep. And I'm going to link it all below, everything that we're talking about after this live stream so you guys can go check it out. Vanessa says, agreed, Phil. Every teacher at Ability School in New Jersey was a woman for my time there, 1980s through 1997. Yeah, I have no idea at Delphi. Because there's like Delphi in LA and then there's Delphi in Oregon, multiple Scientology schools, the Apple School. There were other schools in Clearwater. There was the school that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith opened that was a Scientology school using L. Ron Hubbard study technology. Yep. Sure does all seem to be coming together. Okay. Here's what's happening today, you guys. I am going to be back in probably just a couple of hours for another video on a topic that I've been dying to talk about. So when you hit like, when you hit subscribe, set your notification bell to all. Check out, you guys, right now. I'm going to put this in the chat and I'm even going to pull it up here. Z News is live right now in Kansas City, I believe.
It's a plus for a coffee shop.
That's Allie, Z News. She, most Thursdays, you can find her protesting Scientology in Kansas City. Go check her out. Show her some aloha and love. If you guys want to go over there and room raid, again, that is Z News. So I put that in the chat, but I'll put it in there again. You can just search it up on YouTube or go over there. But she is live right now, so be sure to check it out. I'm going to be back in a couple hours. In the meantime, the rest of you heading out into your day. Well, one, thank you for, this was tough, you guys. It started out on a really great note. But thank you for being here. And I hope that you guys all get out today and have an amazing cult-free day.